Share audio, buddy. That too. Share audio, buddy. That too.
Okay. Alright. Fix my mic here. Let's see. Make this brighter. Dun, 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 dun. Work in progress. So this is work in progress. Let's see. Alright. Hello there. My name is J1 Studios, and this is my first outline public viewing of my book. Let's see, what do I want? What do I want? Turn this off. Hello there. My beautiful profile picture there. Waboo. Okay. Good. Very good. This is WPS Writer. It's a probably the best alternative to Microsoft Word for Linux. Yeah, I just found this out recently, and it works very, very well. And has as much tools as I would like to have for writing and whatnot. So this is going to be a very, very complex book, novel, book of sorts. Would like to have. Okay. All right. So what you would want to do is figure out, okay, what should the book mainly should be about? Who are the characters? Do we have a rough idea of the characters already? Rough outline for now. We can get into specifics later. Underline that, please. Thank you. And then what we want to do is figure out what kind of characters we want for this narrative. What kind of world is this going to be? Basic stuff like that. Because it's going to be an original plot, and we want it to be on its own and special. Choose any random font here, it doesn't really matter. Bullet points. Okay. Go back. So what we want to do, start off with either location, character, descriptions, narrative of sorts, something like that. They can be in one outline, but for the sake of simplicity, it can be all in one outline. You just have one long sheet. I sort of do recommend that, but the way how I do it is normally locations. I start off locations first. And since this is sort of an epic in a way, there'll be multiple locations. So for location number 1, let's see here. I'm thinking of a random name that will probably stick, sort of. I am doing a sort of like Bloodborne inspired Lovecraftian feel, which I absolutely love and adore every bit about it. Some old-fashioned cosmic horror, Victorian era. So I'm going to go for that aesthetic for a little bit. Town of Dunwich. Make sure the font is tiny for this one because it's going to be in bullet points. Bullet point. Waboosh. Make that a bit smaller. Got a bit more room. Okay, we can go back and fix this however way we want. Give this a little bit more space there. Okay, Town of Dunwich. Founded by Church Unity Center. Progress. And there's also the town that the story takes place. So, the town, the main protagonist relocates to. That's basically how I sort of do it. Very vague descriptions. You can save the details for later. Not too demanding, I hope. And as simple as this may be, you don't have to have like 4 or 5 bullet points. You just only need, I'll say, 3. Only 3. Should this be on our line as well? Oh, whatever. Next one. 16. This one, 16. 16. Grab it. Next town. But don't limit yourself to only several locations without very much detail on them. You would want to specify how large the town is, the size of it, and also key locations of it where the narrative is going to take place. So, for example, okay, the Hill of Dunwich. Beat this 12. Was it 12 last time? This was 14. Wait a minute, it's supposed to be 12. What am I doing? 12. And then this is 12 since it's going to be pointed. No, let me fix that. Can I get the command for this? There's no command. Okay. So hello, Dunwich. Vague descriptions. 3. So let's see. One of many attractions of the town. It's a large hill. It's a green hill. It's a large hill with a large tree on top. And then right next to the tree is a hole. I'll leave that to your discretion. No, tree. black and a bit to make it more interesting. And then where is the trees or rather where is the hill situated? Well, town, comma, the gate. Or rather, I can change that later. What I can do is probably format this correctly. If I can. No. It doesn't really matter. Okay. Next location. Who and what? Go away, please. Ah, buddy, I need to charge my phone. The next location, it can be in the same area, in the same town, but we are actually going to try to start branching out a bit. There you go. Try to start branching out a bit into a more complex area. And notice that I don't have like images or so. It is pouring outside. Notice I don't have any like heavy images or so or anything like that. uh do you intend to draw the town like in Shadow over Innsmouth or more just mention it in the back like yeah, it was more like the whole town could be considered like a reference of sort, like mentioning the back like of Dunwich or yeah, it could very, very much be like that. But um since this is an original story, it could have an like an influence of type, like a reference, but it has its own thing. It has its own another narrative in mind. So it's similar, but it has other aspects that make it. It's probably the name. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's probably the name that I chose for this. Again, it's a rough, very rough outline. The goal is to just get the locations on paper. This is how I started out. Locations separate, and then characters separate, and then the narrative last. I go back and forth and make sure that they match. Then which this is not the final town, by the way. This is not the final name for the town. Okay. Let's see. Oh yeah. Okay. So, um, actually, hang on. Let me get my phone up here so I can have goody, goody. Okay. Back into it. Now let's see. Another place right next to Dunwich or Dunwich. Um, one that's not too far. Perhaps a hub for the main character to rest at, since this is an epic and certain things and realism and realistic situations require the character to rest and relax and whatnot. Probably one of many locations. Probably the best place for even the reader to take a break and relax and whatnot if they want to. Say if they so desire. Um, a hub, a safe area. So let's go with a cottage of sorts. I mean, character cottage. Is that right? Okay. Yeah, I want that. Let's put cottage for short. There you go. Fix this one to 12. Just a place. Epic. Epic as in a large story written in verse. Yeah, it's not it's more like how should I say? You mean like of the format? So the format is well, have you heard of House of Leaves? I'm not sure what type of format that is, but I am going that route. It's very messy. It is very messy. It is very demanding. Um, but it does add to the amount of things that happen in this book. It very much clarifies as an epic, as in a large story. Yep. But it's not in a normal book format, which you will see once we get out of outline phase. Hopefully, it's not too long. Experimental fiction, yes, yes, 100%, 1000%. Okay, cottage, a safe hub for the main character. Okay, now I have been thinking about like implementing certain mechanics in the not in the narrative. It's not a story. It's not a spoiler anyway. It's not a spoiler. Where the characters progress in a certain way that they have to rest for their mental health. Since it's like cosmic horror, we're talking about insight and knowledge, and or I should, what is it? Madman's knowledge and insight in Bloodborne. So we're kind of going to take that route. Um, so we're going to use a type of mechanic where the character takes a rest, either at a literal bonfire, or when they're out doing story plot things. And a cottage is one of many places where the character rests until the plot decides to pick up. So I probably don't have much to add on to here. Story elements, of course, for characters. It's probably about it. Not much to add on to here. If there is a third, if I were to put a third one, let's see. Hmm. I can't really think of anything. That's fine. We can come back to this one later. Put those dots there. Okay. Now we're getting into latter parts of the story or of locations. Now one of the most important things of locations, you want to have it be visually pleasing for the reader to imagine. You're playing around with the reader's imagination. That's what I love books that do that and does it absolutely well. We need to specify, well, later on we need to specify descriptions, smells, sights, the sounds, what the creatures look like when they're roaming around in places like that. It's a fantasy. Since this is a cosmic horror, it is only natural that we involve a place where it's shrouded in mystery. It is unknown. It's seen plainly and the main character's eye, but in the descriptions it's like, hang on, what is this place? Why does it look like why does it look like why does it look like that? Why does it look kind of old but sort of still new, but it's such an old structure. It looks kind of off to me. And the type of people that leave this structure, like go in and out for religious reasons. I am, of course, talking about a cathedral capital of Dunwich. I really, I really should probably change that name. It's just it's so obvious what it is. Um, but I'm aiming for like a Scandinavian type aesthetic. What? Wait, no, I didn't type that right. There we go. Scandinavian type aesthetic. Um, Nordic, old fashioned, mystical elements, which is just so beautiful. Mwah, 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 mwah. Delicious. Dunwich. Okay. Cathedral capital of Dunwich. Okay, this is probably the most one of the most mysterious places in the book. Cathedrals are beautiful. It doesn't matter what genre it is, horror or fiction or fantasy, they are always beautiful designs, just so beautiful. They're huge, they're massive, but also beautiful, and it's just so inviting when you see one right in front of you. You just have to admire the art of these cathedrals. And in my book, it's no exception. No exception. This cathedral is the oldest and strongest structure in the town. The oldest and strongest structure in the town. Very, very, very well built. Either it's human invention or it's mystical invention. Probably both. I can't say too much on that for sure. Second point, bullet point, and then trying to stretch my back here. Ah, fear in Swedish. Awesome. Reichsalad. 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 How do you? That word sounds beautiful, by the way. Let's see. Fear. No, you moron. Hang on. I'm just trying to Google it. Gosh darn. Google is being stupid. English to Swedish. Let's just do it that way. Okay? Fear. Wait a minute, what? Rädsla. Okay. Fear. Cheeriness, scare, funk, dread, terror, awe, fright. Actually, can I share it? The page. That's beautiful. Thank you for pointing it out to me. I do appreciate fear of the unknown. where was I? Oh yeah, the oldest and strongest structure in town. A hub for the priest and his worshippers, and trusted. What should I put here? Trusted electives, like people in power who are underneath him, do what he says, like the militia, basically. But they're all gone mad over knowledge. Let's see. So this is sort of kind of like a hub for the antagonist. Now, the book does not split perspectives with the antagonist. In fact, where I have it, everything is explained, everything is given through. Is this really a spoiler? I'm not really sure. I don't think it's a spoiler. No, it's not. Cultus? Yes, cultus. 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 Members. Oh my goodness. Why didn't I think of that? What was I gonna say? Oh yeah. It's sort of a hub for the antagonist, resting spot and whatnot. But it is also, in later parts of the book, a place of knowledge for the main character to study. And I'm just going to leave it at that. Being very vague. Vague indeed. Okay. Next place is the dreamscape. And what that dreamscape is, well, it is a place where everyone goes when they drift off, when they sleep. I spell correctly, where everyone goes. Oh, no, I can word this correctly, I promise. A realm that can only mentally. A realm that can only exist mentally. Its creation is not entirely known. But is believed well, oh my god. I had no idea that was a thing. Side note, Drink Quest of Unknown Kadath is one of my favorite. I had no idea. See, I really do think that somehow, some way, I didn't read all Lovecraft stuff. And in fact, I only have been able to read Dunwich, beautiful, but kind of, sort of outdated with the racism and whatnot. It's just the racism. It's hilarious. It's stupid, but it's hilarious at the same time. Dunwich, and then I saw there was this short poem. I think I have it on here. A short poem, a beautiful short poem about memory. Take out my Google Drive. You gotta read the Dream Cycle, my dude. Oh yeah. I'll get to it. It was Memory that I read, and then by H.P. Lovecraft, and then I read Cthulhu as well, and I saw the game. The game is well, sort of all right. Let me look that one up. Dream Cycle. If I can spell it correctly. Ooh, this looks delicious. Did the Bloomworm did an adaptation on this yet? I love Bloomworm. I absolutely love his content. The wiki. What you got for me, wiki? The Nameless City. Ooh, the Mountains of Madness. Oh my goodness. I definitely have to check that out. Definitely. Between the but wasn't fully evident, but wasn't fully proved. I'll just leave it at that. I'm gonna get this bot out of there. Plop is believed to be a place between the redacted. We'll give this the SDP. We'll give this the SDP treatment. Redacted. There we go. Mountains of Madness is one of his stronger works. Oh, it's beautiful. Oh, it's absolutely beautiful. Yeah, wait a minute. I go all the way down there. Fix this again. Wait, what? What was that? Anyway, so that's the dreamscape. Now, let's get back to, let's see, where are we going from here? We've done one of the main areas. The hub area for the main character, and the antagonist, the dreamscape. Now, we have about 2/3 of the page full, but oddly enough, I'm running out of places to think about. Strange. Very, very strange. It's almost as if this is the basis of it, the starting point. And we are actually starting to get into the nitty-gritty of the locations of the book. Again, you can do, if you want, the locations separate or at the same time as everything else, keeping it all in one nice, concise, long document. I hope that you're printing out your stuff. I do hope. Printing out and then reading it and then going over through it really, really, really does help. If you can print it out, if you can. I know that home printing can be kind of tedious and annoying. Okay. We're actually getting into the latter parts of it. But for now, I think, let's see, I think we're going at a good pace with the mystical aspects of it. So let's, why not continue with that? Now, let's see. How shall I continue? The crystal. Okay. The crystal Abutudura. Make this a small. Yep. By the way, is there a command for this? Or is there a command for any of these? It's not showing up. Okay, whatever then. Redacted. So the crystal redacted is a redacted place of redacted. And then, if you really want to, we can vaguely describe character moments in there, you know. The main characters go to the crystal redacted for redacted. All right, seems fair enough, right? Let's see. Actually, I think that's about it. This is like the whole bulk of the story. And then there's an opposite side of this. And that is the Daedric redacted. Doesn't tell much though. It's the place they go there. Yeah, they're pretty simple. It's a place that just exists. Um, hmm. A place that just exists for certain reasons for a particular person. All right, let's go back and change some of this stuff. One of two betwixes of twixt realities. Very picky and patient on its chosens. The prime actually doesn't see the Daedric nightmare as the main threat. In terms of mystical abilities, turns the crystal redacted into the crystal forest. It is very picky, but it holds true mastery of time and space. However, its chosens are forced into a path. It's getting very complex. I get it. I know. Very complicated. If they diverge diverge, yeah, from it, they will suffer severe consequences. So the whole idea of this is to play into the duality type of narrative that we see in the and mythology in religions a whole bunch of times, from the Bible down into Greek mythology, down into Norse mythology, and then we see it in Dark Souls, we see it in Bloodborne. Two sides constantly going at each other. Um, get a nice connection with forests being seen as places of doubt and fear, connects with literally canon nicely. Yep. Yep. The Crystal Forest basically is the place of knowledge and also the place of where man is the only place where man can ascend, sort of. I say ascend with quotes. It is very limiting, though. It is very limiting. It offers a whole bunch of stuff, but also takes away your freedom to do anything, really, which kind of puts it in the same spot as religion, old or new today. Can I move this down here? In fact, there we go. Now, the Daedric, nightmare is particularly the opposite. Basically, it allows a chosen to ascend and to absolute power. But in exchange, they lose their humanity. They are given false promises by the Daedra. And is consumed into the Daedric nightmare. Rather, it's the Crystalite chosen who does it, or the Daedra who allows them to play their own games and then pull them in for their own dirty deeds. Again, playing around with ascension and which one offers the best cradle for humanity's next childhood. Who is better? Absolute power or mastery of time and space, but very, very limited to do whatever you want with it. Forever be a slave to the ones over the Crystal Forest, given false promises and consumed into the Daedric nightmare. Well, and also the Daedric nightmare plays favoritism a lot with people who are already in power. leaders favors leaders more. But it does happen on certain occasions, rare occasions, when they choose the latter, a less known person. So it's like the Crystal Forest waits until the Daedric Nightmare make its move, and then the Crystal Forest plays cards. And while they're trying to do a goal, the Daedric Nightmare attacks them. The Crystal Forest doesn't really see the Daedra as a threat. Well, they see it as a threat, but it's not their main objective. And these are also places that they can go into. Since these are very, very, very complex places, I'm just going to keep it as this. May give a hint, an insight into lore, which is beautiful. But to move on, we have a more troubling thing to worry about. The main idea of this is fear of the unknown. And this may be the lightest, the smallest amount of bullet points that may be put in here. Again, you can do whatever if you want to follow this locations and whatnot. But for story-wise, some locations that play very, very vital roles, it's probably best to leave them as vague, and then later on you can go back and you can change it up and do whatnot. I would not put story and locations. I would not, unless that's the only way that you can think about putting it on paper. If that's, well, go ahead and you can put it on paper. That besides the point. What is underneath the pit? What is in the pit? What is underneath this tree? Tree. What is underneath it? So aside from the Crystal Forest, aside from the Daedric Nightmare, we have an even more powerful enemy that even the Daedric and the Crystal Forest struggle with, because they're blind and they're on the fighting against each other for centuries. The real threat lies underneath the tree in the hill. The real threat. The Chamber of the Nagu. A chamber, if I can spell it. A chamber that randomly appears underneath town of Dunwich. And if you know anything about cosmic horror, if you know anything about Lovecraft, or even I think a little bit of I forgot his name, Edgar. What's his full name? Edgar Poe. Play into a tiny bit. If anything, Bloodborne plays into is the mentality, or the duration of mentality men have when they encounter such out of world, unnatural beings. Edgar Allan Poe. Yep. If you know anything about cosmic horror, these guys, they mean business. The Nagu, the Chamber of the Nagu, a resting place of an elder who had to split himself into 5 pieces in order. This is going too long. 5 pieces. So the way how the realm works is that the realm itself has a limit of how much power one mortal can obtain, and even the spirits and even the gods, they have to abide by the rules. Even the elders, unless some huge, catastrophic, colossal, astronomical event happens, they have to abide by it. So he split himself into 5 pieces and is resting in a chamber underneath the largest hill in the outskirts of Dunwich. What does that mean? What does that mean for people there? What does that mean for kids, families? What does that mean for people there who are actually trying to make a living? Well, the presence of an elder casts an influence on the residents of Dunwich. Influence. Going to underline that. Influence. The influence is basically kind of like curse or terror or frenzy. It's frenzy and bloodborne, kind of like that. And it goes sporadic. It basically every single day in Dunwich. I really do have to change that name. Every single day in Dunwich, there is it's basically a mental plague that's going on. It's a psychological plague that captures the entire mind of a child, and then it makes their eyes bleed, it makes their brains swell, and their only reaction to this is to look up. Just looking up. That's basically it. They are caught up. Their minds, their psychological being is being taken by the Nagu. They're being affected by it, and there is no cure for it. Basically, there is no cure. Now, with the Daedric nightmare that's running the show, basically, they're going to think, oh, it's the Crystal Forest. They're going to try to take over our town because they're ignorant like that. The Crystal Forest doesn't respond. They don't do anything. As patient as it is, it has very, very frustrating. Yeah, there is some allegories I can draw from this, but I wait. Can I go back there? There we go. Waboo. Show up. But here about allegories, I do like the idea. Harry Potter did this plenty of times. I do like the idea of drawing some type of here it is. I do like the idea of drawing some type of real life relation allegory to say something important about with the mental plague mechanic. I do like that idea. Uh, what was it? Lord of the Rings did it mostly. Or rather, no, I don't. Lord of the Rings sort of did it, but then the writer he did denounce it. Not really denounce it. I mean, he said he doesn't really like allegories, but there are real life things that you can pull from Lord of the Rings. And people try to denounce it because it's at colleges. You would not believe this. At colleges, people who are professionally paid to analyze works of fiction and whatnot, they literally say that fantasy has no valid point to it. It's fantasy. It's about swords and elves and knives. When the Lord of the Rings has been telling people for decades that humanity has been heading down a dark path. Basically, we are tearing ourselves apart, and we have problems. We don't really care about each other, and the only thing that we're good for, the only thing that we want truly is power, which is self-destructive. That's what uh that's what Lord of the Rings was saying. So I won't mind having um allegories, and it's just that I don't really, how should I put this? I would want to put like a message in my book, like a type of message that someone would want to look into and whatnot and be inspired by. But um, I think the idea is to tell a story about influence and duality and religion, and then uh, living not so religious, uh, and how you can see the world through God's eye. There's a good side and then there's a bad side. And you can only choose one of those. I think that is sort of like the main idea. I did see a video on this about the duality narrative and how it's beautifully executed. Joseph Campbell was talking about it. Yeah, they are very tough. It's very tough to get down. You have to rewrite it. That's just the standard. That's just the standard that is expected. Um, and I'm down for rewriting. I am down for it. It's like writing a novel itself is like um eating a whole elephant, basically. But how would you do that? You would take it step by step. You would take the trunk and then its its feet, and then its head, and then its ears, and then its eyes, and then you you cut it down into size where you can digest it day in and day out at whatever pace you want. But the thing is about this type of narrative and the allegory is it has to be very consistent. You can't really go off in one thing, or either character's sake or so, or else you'll end up losing the narrative. It has to be tight. It has to be consistent, and it's very demanding as well. And nature, poor Evelyn, and nature is the duality narrative is sort of an epic itself. We're not talking about like revenge plot. We're not talking about like the smaller well known, man versus man, man versus nature, stuff like that. We're talking about duality. Two huge things colliding with each other, and humanity's caught in it, and their choices dictate, literally like a butterfly effect. Their choices dictate um rather they ascend or they get stuck at where they at and they die. Gone. There is no winning here. None. There's no winning in this type of narrative. It's a strong narrative. It's a beautiful narrative. But it's just it's incredibly complex. And to add onto it, the type of format I'm doing is akin close to House of Leaves, and it took Mark like 10 years to write that book. 10 years. The guy is a genius. But bloody 10 years? that it's beautiful because it's his first book, his first project. And I love the story behind it, how it influenced him. And I feel like this duality narrative, even though it's tough, I do like the difficulty of it. I like difficult stuff. This is pretty much a draw in for me. Easy a draw for me. So the Nagu, the one of the most consistent problems the characters have to go through with this book. They have to figure it out though. We're playing into the mystery of it. They have to figure it out on their own. The Crystal Forest, the people who run the Crystal Forest, the keepers, they're not going to give a solution or a hint into the Nagu. They don't care. They don't care about the town. His the familiar is pretty tight as well. Still mad he got oh dear. Oh dear. Let me look that up actually. Sally, I haven't heard of it, but I don't what cancel 5 volumes. N. Oh dear Lord. 5 volumes in. How did it get canceled? Hang on a second. Hang 1 second. I want to. Okay. 5 volumes in. Really? Oh dear Lord. So it was supposed to be a magnum opus. 20 something book series. Same style. Magnum opus, and if this is serial novel, this actually that 27 split into 5 seasons of 5 book a piece, 5 books a piece, written by a renowned experimental writer. And what it was supposed to be. Oh my goodness, I did not hear about it. So basically, didn't sell well. Got hacked. Oh, that's bad. That's horrible. in 11 years. But the concept, the deal for the 10 books of the saga exceeded 7 figures. And the lovers of weird fiction, experimental writing alike awaited it with anticipation. The plan was for new volumes to arrive at 4-month intervals, and the first was to release. See, okay. If Lighthouse leaves, then this would be right up your alley. It ain't finished, but there's some closure. If this is to be true, again, this is coming from the Barnes and Nobles. They're open, by the way. If this is to be true, I feel like it would have been cool, but you're spreading yourself too thin here. I mean, I want mine for a beautifully polished 27 series books of novels that all expanded from House of Leaves in such a beautiful way. People probably would have been tired of it when the fifth book or the sixth book probably came out. And at 27, how do you keep that fresh interest in it? How for so long? How would you? And 4-month intervals. I can't see that. I really can't see that. As the plot unfolds, it shifted gears in the narrative styles, each chapter picking up where it last left off, revealing a little more. It chugs along. It's a complex series, to be sure. Each volume a densely packed series of words and images that hints at something more. How much longer could you do that, though? And in a series like this, now you can say, Wheel of Time did it. You can say Wheel of Time did it. It has 13 books, kind of an alternative to Lord of the Rings. Beautiful covers, by the way, beautiful covers. You can say Wheel of Time did it, but this isn't. Once by definition. Once. That is very true. It starts becoming a writing style. Readers would adjust to the style and just go on because they're invested. I would hope that was the case. Fans, dedicated fans, they eat up your style, which is always a good thing, always a beautiful thing. I'm not trying to bunk on that. It's just that I just don't really see how they're gonna get past volume 7, adding fresh ideas, adding things like that. I don't really see it. They're invested. The thing is, time eats an investment. It eats up investment. It eats up everything, interest as well. And so, I don't really see if the article is proven to be right. I don't really see 4 month intervals. I don't see how the story could, evolve along with the characters. It might as well have been a TV series. I would love a TV series. even though it is kind of downgrading the story, the narrative, because you can't have experimental fiction on TV. What? It's unheard of. We're worried about Batwoman and having a black character for Batwoman. We're not looking for innovation or creativity or originality for our um, TV shows. But this, I can't really see. Yeah, he is genius. Like easily one of the best geniuses out there. Books of this sort can and should exist as writers and readers. And it's our duty to make sure that they do. What? What? A wild, cryptic, experimental serial novel lasted 5 volumes and 4,000. This guy can write, even though that's probably not much as he wanted to, but again, some of the best literature is unfinished. A man without qualities, stuff like that. Yep, that is that's that's how it goes. I wondered, like, do you know how many unfinished works Lovecraft had? And his work wasn't even popular by then. At the time they were published, he had encouraged other writers uh, to add to his universe, which was a brilliant move on him. But he no, he didn't get it easily. No, and same thing is too. No matter how quality these books may have been, like completely polished on every single level, the words, the grammar, the format, the characters, the story, no matter how consistent, beautifully polished it was. If in a 4 months interval, I don't know how you can possibly do that, but okay. Um, Even if it's like that, beautifully written, the numbers matter. The people who read it matter. You can have fans, but if they're not showing up to shops and buying this stuff day one, I mean, uh, I don't know what else to say. I really don't know what to say. I'm not trying to say like the market is subjective and whatnot, and what decides to be popular and whatnot. I'm not trying to say that, but it's just that popularity is very, 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 very tough to manage, and this series could only survive if it had that. Yeah, that too. If he would have um, kept to the series and he allowed it, probably would have bad idea right now, because DC does it, Marvel does it, and it accepts me every single time when they have a new writer comes in, and it, they don't bother like testing them on do they understand the characters at all. They have a new writer come in, and they would write whatever they want, whatever they want. For example, can't believe I'm bringing this up on my stream. Um, Gotham High, for example, Gotham High. this author is known as teen romance books. So I would be wary on his decision. He was better off writing it himself. That's just my own judgment, because nowadays we have things like this that happen, and it upsets a lot of people, because you can't have new writers come in and doing the exact same style. We have to let them do whatever they wanted to do with the source material. At least people that Lovecraft knew, he they respected his source material, whether it was popular at the time or not. They respected it. At least they did that. But now you have somewhat professional writers coming in, and they're going off the walls with the source material. Rules over Gotham High School, Dangerous, Flare, Aided. Look at the score. That I agree with. That I agree with. 3.2. Fine. The animation, okay. But this should have been a slam dunk for DC. It should have been. A slam dunk. Easy. But I decided to choose another writer. So that kind of was a tiny rant, but yeah, I do believe that he was on to something. But I don't know if it was the timing that was wrong. I don't know if it was the publisher demands that were too high for his book, which does happen a lot for more successful writers and whatnot. Rather, he was on a corner, and he wanted to put something out there that was long and enduring and beautiful for people to enjoy. But the publishers, not to knock on them, but didn't get the support that he needed. It's fine. It's fine. It's it's related to the topic. It's very, very important. I'm glad you brought it up, because I myself was not sure if should I say something about this. I'm glad that you brought it up, but yeah, it was very much needed. I think it's about time that I say something about these things. But anyway, yeah, the outline. I didn't plan very much for it to be long. This is what I call progress. Even though it's tiny, it's the smallest. We do have significant bits of the story and the locations and what the characters are going to be doing there. It's vague at most, but this is pretty much rough draft, that rough outline. It doesn't have to be polished, nuanced, and to perfection. You can do the format differently than what I do. What I do is just simplicity enough. Review Tech USA. But yeah, that's that was basically all I wanted to do. But oh, wait a minute, and then switch over. No, that's fine. So yeah, I think that's about it. It's been an hour, 3 minutes. I thoroughly enjoyed writing. This is not the final bit for my, book. The things are going to change as I see fit. Of course, and I have to make a schedule at some point in time. I do, but the thing is about the coronavirus and the whole um, jobs, trying to apply to the paycheck protection plan. Sources are very limited, so but I do have time to come back. I do have time to come back and do this stuff. I love this. I absolutely do. I love this. Love doing this. Hopefully, I can bring it over to Twitch and people would actually care for it. But anyway, I do appreciate you stopping by, everyone who did, and let's see here. Yeah, that was about it. That's all I wanted to show. If I can get that back. Ah, there it is. Perfect. I enjoyed. Oh yeah. Well, the thing is about audiobooks. I'm not entirely. I don't. I do appreciate the offer, but uh, I don't really enjoy audiobooks. It's just a thing that's not for me. I'd rather sit down with a physical copy, which is nice. Is a luxury on itself, or have the ebook, uh, up there, and I can read it in words and whatnot. Uh, Audiobooks is just not my cup of tea. Sorry, I do apologize. It's just not my cup of tea. And that's the thing. It's sort of. I think it was like a thing in high school where teachers I had counselors. They thought that my reading was a bit behind, and they decided to have people things read out things for me, and I was like, it felt kind of patronizing for me, a tiny bit. By a particular channel. Um, if it's done by a YouTuber, yeah, sure, definitely. Go ahead and link it. Give me the link. Give me the link. Give me the link. But yeah, but not Amazon. As Amazon audiobooks, I don't really like them. It feels like my teacher is reading things to me in high school. And I was like, okay, well, I can understand just fine, both of them. Even though I may read a bit slow, I'm not entirely incompetent. Sometimes, maybe. But if it's done by a YouTuber, yeah, sure, I'll definitely check it out. Very good. Well, okay, perfect. Sounds good. Sounds very good. Thank you so much for hanging out. Uh, and well, yeah, I do have to check out a schedule and whatnot, but we'll be doing this more often. I really, really do enjoy it. Maybe longer sessions, perhaps. And I have to plan out some articles we can look at, and perhaps a video. I have to fix the audio on it though, because I know it was terrible starting out. But anyway, I do enjoy this. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you could hit that like button and punch that subscribe button, I am close to 30. Excuse me, I haven't checked in a while. Uh, but yeah, I would appreciate it, and I will see you later. See you all later.